Hello, today we're going to be talking about internet and social media advertising. When I'm thinking about internet advertising and how you may want to use it for your final project, social media is going to be your best choice. You can talk about websites, you can talk about other uses of the internet, like say placing an ad on an online game or something like that, but personally I think you're going to have a lot more success, especially with the final project, using social media as your medium that you propose to the client. So having said that, let's talk about social media advertising, or as I put it, the new media. There's actually a book out there called The New Media, and what it's talking about is the new media is this concentration of all the other traditional media now being online on the internet. The new media is actually that social aspect, using the internet as a communication device, which, believe it or not, my thesis was sort of about that when I was getting my master's degree. I had the idea that people might be using their computers in the future as a way to not only communicate, but also to communicate on a mass audience. So I did not know about the internet at the time, or the way the internet became, because it hadn't become what it is today. It was still just universities, military bases, and the government that was using the internet. It wasn't open to the public yet. So I thought the communication would happen through what were called computer bulletin boards at the time. So I was ahead of my time, but at the same time, yeah, I didn't see the internet coming at all. So the idea was solid. How it happened took everyone by surprise. So, all right, let's talk about this new media. If you're going to do a social media campaign, you have to be very specific. You don't want to just put out generic ads on all the different types of social media and hope that it works. You know, once again, think about your target audience. Do they use Facebook? Do they use Instagram? Do they use Snapchat? Do they use Pinterest? Do they use YouTube? What do they use? So be specific with that. Also, with your ad, you don't want to put up, once again, something very generic. You're going to have to cut through a lot of noise, a lot of static out there, a lot of things that the person using the social media will just ignore. So make it stand out by being able to target the target audience. If you've done any analytics, you know that you can be very specific, even on Facebook. I want to have males age 45 to 55 that play handball. You can be that specific at targeting your ad to that audience and specifically addressing what they may be interested in buying. And with the sport of handball, basically protection for your eyes, some really nice leather gloves, and a solid handball. So not much more you need for that sport. A wall, basically. And it's a fun game, but yeah, you can be very specific there. Social media is a visual media. My kids actually make fun of me that I'll be scrolling through Facebook or TikTok or Instagram, but I'll have the volume completely turned off on my phone, and it's like, aren't you listening to what the different things are? Not that important to me. It's still very visual, and since my background is in visual communication, yeah, it's the visuals that are going to attract the audience in. Interactivity, what I mean by that is something that the audience actually has to do with the ad. It can be a playable game being disguised as an ad, or vice versa. It could be something. I don't know if you remember this from say 20 years ago, but they would have ads that would say, shoot the target, and you could actually move your cursor over the banner ad on a website, and when you shot the target, it went to the website that had the advertising on it. By the way, it didn't matter if you actually hit the target or not. It was just a matter of interacting with the audience. You could have clicked anywhere. It still just went to the advertising site. And it just that pretending to be interactive actually increased the click-through rate of ads. Big study done on that, and highly effective. So think about using interactivity. Interactivity today is a lot more fun with different types of ways you can be interactive. Like I said, interactive games. You can have playable levels. You can have there was a great one by a toilet paper company, which of course way before the pandemic, but the interactivity was when you clicked on a roll of toilet paper on the banner ad, the toilet paper rolled and then created this big pile of toilet paper until you eventually got to the end, and if you clicked on the blank roll of toilet paper, it then went to the toilet paper's advertising site. So clever, interactive, and had people clicking. So how do you want to determine if your social media ad is actually reaching people? Will it be successful by a certain number of likes, a certain number of follows, a certain number of shares? What is it that to you will be a successful social media ad? QR codes, those are those little square boxes that have little dots in it that you use your camera on your smartphone, and it'll take you to a website. And QR codes had been dying. I mean, this is, I won't say an old slide, but I didn't create it this morning. But QR codes are back, and it has a lot to do with the pandemic. What stores and restaurants have been using, instead of handing out menus or something that might actually transmit the virus, they've been saying, scan this code. And so QR codes are back. They're on TV now. They're in TV programs. I'm thinking SpongeBob, but they're back. What social media sites to use? Once again, it'll depend on your audience. So, Facebook is getting some disparagement that it's the social media site for old people now. The kids aren't on it anymore. The kids are on Snapchat. They're on TikTok. Even TikTok's becoming an old person thing too. There's nothing really exclusive to any of the social media sites, but some are better than others. So think about your audience and where are they? What social media are they using? Are they just using YouTube? Is YouTube a social media site? I think so. What kind of visuals can you use on these different sites? An Instagram advertisement, it's definitely going to be visual. It's definitely going to be a photo. It's definitely going to be something alluring. But can you do that same thing on Twitter? No, I don't think so. Twitter is basically text-based. So you want to think about what you want to try to do, and then choose the social media site that works best for your visual needs. Once again, interactivity, a lot easier to be interactive on, say, Instagram or even Facebook, less so on, say, YouTube or Twitter. And does it fit the campaign at all? I mean, if the campaign is, about a political candidate and you put it on Instagram, is that a good fit? Snapchat? To me, Snapchat is still a way to put up image that you ought not put up on the internet. I really don't see the mass appeal, the mass communication aspect of Snapchat. So I think I had Snapchat for about a month, didn't find it useful at all. Apparently still popular out there, but I think it misses that mass communication aspect that I think a good internet ad, social media ad should have. So what are these sites? Facebook is the big dog. More than 1 billion monthly active viewers. That should be more than 1 billion monthly active users. Twitter, they have not quite as much, but certainly number 2 there. And after the Trump presidency, there are people who rediscovered Twitter. Twitter was kind of dying until President Trump decided to use that as his bully pulpit. And now, of course, Twitter has banned him. So, we're at this period of, is Twitter going to stay relevant or become irrelevant? I don't know. We'll see what happens there. Pinterest. It tends to be women that use Pinterest, and I'm not saying that, out of an opinion. That's a fact. And they have about 25 million users, maybe a little bit more than that. It is for people who are, crafty, like ideas, like to do things themselves. So think about that if that is something that fits in with your clients. So YouTube, like I said earlier, that is it actually a social media site? And I think so. My son has a YouTube channel. You can check it out. It's Anteater10. That's all one word. Basically, he just screen captures playing video games, but the video games he plays are very specific. It's Little Big Planet 2 and Little Big Planet 3, and the types of levels he does are either he made them or his friends online have made them. And he has followers and they interact with him, and he has thousands of viewers, and I don't see the attraction, but he is social, using YouTube, so I will consider that a social media. Instagram, very visual, very it's a quick hit kind of thing. You go there, you check to see what the people you're following have put up, and you can just kind of visit it throughout the day instead of I'm going to sit down and spend my evening looking at Instagram. You end up doing that, but it is something that you can do like on a quick hit sort of basis. I've also mentioned Snapchat. I've let's see, other things that I can think of. Online games, definitely a place that you might want to stick an internet ad in there. And once again, it has that social media aspect to it. Wouldn't actually call it social media, but pretty close. In the same idea arena. So think about the sites, think about the clients, and think about how you can use it to your advantage.